Yeah, I've just been listening kind of vaguely, to be honest. There wasn't much about it. To comments about feminism and the gay agenda, which were originally two completely separate topics. And what I discovered with my father, and what I'm discovering with his community at large, i.e. his ring, his network, the part of which he was part, is that whatever women achieve, or gay people achieve, or whatever freedom anyone achieves, is seized upon and used to the advantage of the oppressor. And I will say oppressor. It is immediately turned to the advantage of the people we were fighting against. One example which springs instantly to mind is that when I was doing my English degree, which is not what people think at all, or at least mine wasn't, it's not a recital of grammar and spelling, for God's sake. That's what you do in infant school. Well, it's what I did in my infant school. It's an analysis of language and symbols and many another thing. Psychology, history, many, many things. There are a lot of different ways to approach an essay in an English degree, a lot of different angles that you can approach it from. And one of my interests was what they called semiotics, which was basically incorporating into the English language. The symbolic was considered male. The symbolic order was considered male, and most of language was considered to be symbolic. Semiotics was going to be the female language, the language of the body, the language of the female body, which allowed, of course, for in the invention of new words. All a good thing for women who wanted nothing more than equality with men. Human rights, in other words. We merely wanted to redress the balance so that we would have exactly the same rights as men. That was it. Well, at least certainly that was my starting point for feminism. And whatever I wrote about in my degree, it was still my starting point. I don't know why, but I actually do develop an itchy nose when I'm recording. Now, that has been the new language is an Orwellian nightmare. We were trying to reclaim the right to talk about our vaginas, to talk about our vulvas, the whole. A lot of people don't know the difference. The vulva covers a lot more than the vagina. Labia minora, labia majora, clitoris, etc. There's a difference. We wanted for the female body to be seen as something other than obscene, and to not be othered from the male body. In other words, we were trying to move away from a society which regarded the male as the norm and the female as the deviation from the norm and the abnorm. What we have now, and the reason I will not support the LGBT agenda, what we have now is transgenders, which again is anti feminist, right from the word go, because gender is a construct. Sex is a fact, gender is a construct, whereby society decides that females wear pink dresses and boys wear, blue trousers. And even that, by the way, the pink and the blue thing only came in 1926. It's as recent as that pink became identified with femininity and blue with masculinity. It is a construct. Gender does not exist. Sex exists. And it's all been turned around and used against us. Transgender cannot happen. It cannot happen because, as I've just said, gender is a construct. It's made up by society, it's invented by society, and it varies from one culture to another. Which is why I will ask a transgender, okay, so if you were an Iranian transgender, would you don a burqa? Now, I actually know in this vicinity 2 people who identify as transgender, and I don't have a problem with either of them. I do think that a lot of the so-called transgenders who come online, i.e. social media, are trolls and plants, and put there to stir up discord. And they do it very well. And so now we have this ridiculous notion of cisgender. Well, neither word makes any sense. All that cis means is that you identify with the sex that you were born with. Why can I not just say that I'm a woman? Why do I have to say that I'm a cis woman? Because women who used to be men say so. That's why. Now, also, it's a problem to talk about our vaginas. So we've been taken straight back to square one. Vaginas are not, we can't discuss them. They're off limits. And the reason for that is that it's considered to be trans-exclusionary, because women who used to be men don't have vaginas. So we can't talk about them because they don't have them. And whilst they have the right to say, I am a woman, I wasn't born a woman, but I am a woman, I don't have the right to say that I'm a woman. I have to say I'm a cis woman, according to them. Which again others me against the new norm of transgender. In other words, if I were to say, and I will never say, I'm a cis woman, if I were to say it, I would be saying, I'm not a trans woman. Why do I need to say that? Why can I not just say, I am a woman? It's the right feminists fought for millennia. To say I am a woman and to have no shame in saying that, and to not be othered against men, and to not be othered against transgenders, to just be what we are. People with wombs. And okay, some women don't have wombs, they've had hysterectomies, or something went wrong somewhere. Most women do have wombs. And in fact, I think you'll find that is where womb man probably came from. I'm not sure about that. I should check that etymology. So, intersectional feminists are now turning themselves inside out and backwards to accommodate an agenda that is actually against their own best interests and the best interests of their daughters and granddaughters and great-granddaughters. Once again, women are abnormal. Once again, we are othered against a norm. The first norm being men, and the new norm being transgenders. I hate the concept. I do not hate the 2 local transgenders I know. I do hope that they will understand that, but I don't think so. Because this is always mistranslated. Always. As for the gay agenda, they never had one either. The gay agenda, I knew a lot of women of my generation who had known they were gay from the word go. These women didn't want to have dog shit shoved through their letterboxes, didn't want to be stoned as they crossed the car park to their lesbian venues, and didn't want to be discriminated against at work, didn't want to be considered dangerous to girl guides, and so on and so forth. Nothing wrong with that. It's not an agenda. It's a desire for equality, and there's nothing wrong with that either. We're talking about consenting adults here. I don't like gay marriage because I don't like marriage. I don't think it's changed much from ownership, male ownership of the female and her children. There was no gay agenda. The gay agenda has been imposed upon society, and it hasn't been imposed by gay people. It's been imposed by, we thought, the left wing, or we're always told the left wing, aren't we? But the right wing is just as much on it. So now we have to celebrate gay marriage, including those of us feminists who never celebrated heterosexual marriage and realized the hard way that marriage was not a good thing for women and never would be a good thing for women or children. Of course, this is my opinion here on this one. What is happening is that we are being programmed, we are being told what to think. Feminism has been turned upside down. Gay people might think they are gaining the rights that they had sought all along. And in point of fact, they are pawns in this much bigger game, to be used to divide and conquer. When I have to come out and say I detest the whole idea of transgender, you see, and then we come to labels. I can remember it when I don't want to be at 61 doing what I was doing at 16, thinking, well, hang on, which camp do I fall into? I don't fall into any damn camp, and none of us should. We should be individuals. That's rather Ayn Randish, but we don't have to fall into one camp or another. We don't have to be left wing or right wing, or we shouldn't have to. That's not a way to define people. The agenda is governmental. It is not an agenda of any specific group of people who in the beginning only wanted equality. And what is wrong with that? Well, nothing if you're an ordinary person, and everything if you're a member of the elite. They do not want us to be equal. They want us at each other's throats, as I said, divide and conquer, and they're making a damn good job of it. I now cannot identify as an intersectional feminist. In fact, I loathe them. I would still identify, as I was used to, as a radical feminist, except they developed some extraordinary ideas about prostitution, whereby prostitution is now considered to be raped, which wipes rape off the map completely. If you can't differentiate between someone who is selling a service and someone who is being forced to have sex against their will, you're in trouble. Rape no longer has any meaning, thanks to radical feminists, of whom I used to be one. We're all being squeezed into little boxes. Personally, I've never fitted, and I do not intend to fit. And the only box that I'm going to be put into, and then not if I can help it, is a coffin.